welcome to Department Spotlight, where we talk to our friends and colleagues about just things in the film industry. Today we are talking with Bre'anne Holz, who is the producer of all 6 of our films. All 6. Like, me and Mark, we only directed 3 each. Even with writing, we co-wrote, so we had backup. Bre'anne did all of them on her own. But she also had some help on some of the films from Leah Sharples. So she was the producing assistant on some of the films. But the majority of the films Brie did herself.
What is important to consider when producing specifically a short film?
So I think with the short film, you have to know going into it that it's going to be a lot more difficult because generally, and this is stereotyping, short films are indie films. So they're going to have low budgets. So you know that you're going to put a lot more work in. You're not going to have this huge producing team and the luxury of a location scout and stuff like that. So you have to go into it knowing that you're going to do a lot more work. And you also have to consider that because of that, you have to work closely with the crew, and ask for their help sometimes, the way you guys help me with location and stuff like that. And just considering the budget as well, it's really difficult working on a low budget. Probably, especially if you're coming from working on feature films to a short film, trying to get catering and crafts and making sure the crew are comfortable and not going over the 12 hours and trying to shoot everything probably in a day because a lot of the people are working for a lot less than would get paid. So I think the biggest consideration is budget and knowing that you're going to run into difficulties that you're just going to have to work with and make plans around.
So then tying into this project with the 6 shorts, what do you think was the biggest challenge? Or how did you apply what you just said to these films?
I'd have to say personally, I don't know how everyone else felt, location for me was a struggle. Balancing obviously work, and then this, and trying to find time to do both. And I think location, because it's kind of asking, does anyone know someone who has an apartment? Or we need a pool, does anyone know someone with a big enough pool that we can dive into?
Yeah.
So that then goes into considering that you have to ask for help because, to pay for these locations is going to be expensive. And there wasn't budget for it, but also preferably you want to put your budget somewhere else. And I know they say put your budget on screen, but when there's a whole lot of other stuff to consider, if we can get a really good location sponsored by a friend or a family member, I think that's always better.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Locations are really difficult.
Tough.
Especially considering a lot of locations we had in mind, or we had a few locations locked, and then the week before or whatever, it's oh no, sorry, I'm having a thing that day. I can't. I forgot that you're shooting, and I think that's a challenge when you're on low budget because you're not really always paying people for location specifically, and then I'm not saying it's a bad thing on their side, but they forget about it, or they're oh no, that's Saturday's free, and then when you ask them, they're oh no.
Yeah, and then
actually
you can't get upset about it.
Yeah. It's for free.
And you immediately have to go into finding another place,
And adapting to that
adapting the
location.
script.
You're changing all your plans according to that. Yeah.
But I think we got lucky with our locations.
We did.
Even the ones that we had to swap out last minute, I think they worked really well.
No, our locations worked out, definitely.
Yeah. And also speaking of things falling out last minute, people who's I'll be there definitely, and then
Extras.
The day before it's
Yeah. The BCS people. That's the problem as well, because there's people that we're not paying because it's low budget, and we're kind of just
you can't even get mad at them because it's probably working.
Yeah. Also, especially on which one was it? Public engagement. It was the rugby. So so many people pulled out because I'm gonna watch the rugby, and fair enough. It's a big thing for a lot of people, but we planned this months in advance. We didn't know.
Plan for things
How are we supposed to know that the Springboks were gonna get that far?
Wow.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. No, but Like seriously,
Podcast
it's
is over.
I mean, luckily our like main cast and crew came through, but then there were other people that we had to shoot on another day or whatever. But then the location again. That was the one thing that we had to pay for because it's it's a park. There's
park.
people who can kick us out, and then we can't change the day on that. And we're like, oh no, it's rugby. Let's just do it the next weekend.
But I think from like a location's point of view, from like the writing as well that leads into the producing is like if you don't have money, don't write for stupid locations that you can't get as well. Like we had a very like conscious thinking of like what locations are we able to get. Like even if we knew that we necessarily didn't like have that, it was like, oh, we will be able to find one of those. You know what I mean?
Good example, the restaurant. Like a restaurant is that weird thing where it's like it is difficult to get, but you can probably like find one. There's so many around. One of them is bound to say yes. And we only found a location like a week before we shot.
But that's also when working on short films as well. Like with these specifically, is also more work leading into like what am I saying? With the whole catering thing. So like doing trade exchanges, it leads into doing more work because you have a low budget. So like ideally you just get a catering company or get food.
Yeah.
But because we needed food cheaper,
Yeah.
so we made a trade exchange, and that leaves more work with like us to pull through on that and give them what we told them we would do for them,
Yeah. All in between doing work and post on the things that we created for ourselves, and now we have to do that for them. It's like a vicious cycle.
But you do it because you love it.
That's true.
I mean, we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't go through the effort if we
Exactly. I mean, we didn't spend. I mean, we didn't spend no money on this, So it was. It's definitely a thing that you have to decide. Okay, this is worth it, and I'm gonna do whatever to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
What are some of your best tips? Bre'anne's hot tips for an effective pre-prod.
Alright, pre-prod.
Just explain what pre-prod is.
Okay, so
Pre the production. Done.
Let's get into it.
So pre-prod is basically when you've got the script and the director and some of the budget, and now it's time to organize, to plan the shoot, who you're gonna get to be in your crew, who's gonna be your cast. It's like now you're really planning the film. Tips would be, again, try to work with people who you trust, because there's nothing worse than unresponsive people who don't pitch on the day or like even a week before, just like drop you. Be organized, obviously. Try like your best to plan as far ahead as possible, because like I said, unexpected things will happen. I mean, especially if you don't have that much experience, you need to be so prepared that when an unexpected thing happens, you can have a plan, you can fall back on something. So like double locations, like plan B cast. Extras are always a struggle. Other tips, just also try to communicate a lot with your crew. I feel like I'm saying all these things and I don't do them on these films. But it's something that I've also noticed is that if you communicate a lot with your crew and make them feel like you're on top of things, even if maybe you're not fully on top of things, then they feel more secure in the production. Try to use your budget as wisely as possible if you're on an indie film. I know it's more work, but try to do trade exchanges, because it's helpful for budget, it's helpful for your experience. Personally, like I just did a trade exchange for work, and it was just so cool meeting other people in a different industry and talking to them and like filming what they do. And it's definitely experience as well for you. I mean, if you like talking to people, then you'll love it.
And you get things for free, kind of.
Kind of. Yeah. I think those are the most important things for me.
Yeah.
And
there's some good things.
Google Doc.
Yeah, that's
Google Docs go far.
Google Docs are cool.
You're really good at those. You really are.
They're interactive.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just like click on
Pages.
things and go to a different thing.
Yeah.
It's very
They
cool.
help you stay on top of things.
Yeah. Right, so thank you so much, Bre'anne. So subscribe to Luke Pictures on YouTube and check out the podcast for the full-length version of this conversation over on Spotify and all of those podcasting platforms. So let us know, like, do you guys like these shirts? We got the Make Your Movie shirt. We got Luke Picture shirts. Would you guys be interested in buying them? Let us know.
I know I would.
But yeah, let us know. Is that something that you'd be interested in? Maybe we can like start up a store, you know? All right, guys. So go out there and make your movie. All right, we can cut it, right? Cut it there, cut it.